Hello and welcome back to Ken Games and Diablo. I've not quit playing this yet, and I thought I wanted to do it a little bit more while I talk about some stuff that's been going on. I have started a lot of debates because, as you may know, I am an atheist. And whenever religious people start saying bullshit with their religion, I have to tell them otherwise. Because I just don't like when they say something they can't prove or is just definitely wrong. Now, one of the things I wanted to start with is some religious people think that atheists just don't have any morals because they want to make up their own. But that's just simply wrong. The fact is, we all have the same, well, we don't all have the same morals, but we, in a society, we sort of like tend to have similar morals because we found out that, if you leave my stuff alone, I'm gonna leave your stuff alone, and that serves us. And we made common rules on that. It's not from a god, it's just from plain old social morals. Humanistic. So it's not like, oh, we're making our own morals. No. We have societal morals. And funny enough, those morals tend to, if while you religious guys would go, but we have our morals from God, why is it then that every societal laws are different from society to society? Like, the Danish laws are different than the German ones. If they were dictated from your God, wouldn't they be the same? Oh. Yeah, but we interpret them differently, right? Exactly. But, we don't have them from any god. We just have them from knowing our society. We are raised with them. We learn that, from our parents that we are not allowed to steal, and we actually tend to agree with them because, hey, it serves us. If I help you, you're gonna help me. That's just logic to think like that, and as again, it's not from any god. The next thing I've been discussing is also that religious people want to have the right to just continue cutting into their children, maiming them in a way. And I don't really think that that's a good idea. I think, if you want to do that, because there's absolutely no health reason to do it. It's all about taking or removing some of the joy about sex, because sex from a Bible book is sort of like, ooh, you're not supposed to enjoy that. That's just for making children. Fuck you. See, that's where we may have different morals. We know that this life is the only life we have. So, we want to enjoy it. We don't want to sit in a hotel room and just look out because we know we're not gonna get anything afterwards. But that does not mean that we only sit there or we only have our own morals. That our morals doesn't come anywhere else from. As I said, part of them is from society because, hey, we know we're not gonna get another life, and we don't want to go to jail, so we're not gonna go out and steal. That would not benefit us in the long run because we know what happens if we do. And in fact, if you look at the jails, you will not see that atheists are more in jail than anyone else. And here's another secret. There's more people that are religious in jails. But I'm not going to do that as a main point of it. Just, it's enough to say that prisons aren't overpopulated by atheists. So I think that there should be a 18 years a limit on cutting into people that hasn't said themselves that they wanted to do it. I know that that's not gonna be the rule because politicians are too scared to do that, even though they know that that would be the right thing to do, to let children decide for themselves what they want to do. And you may be saying, yeah, but the parents influence the kids anyway, you know. Like they're going to impart some of their culture on them, yes. But the thing is, that culture can be removed by logic. But if you cut something off your kid, that does not grow back again. Logic will. So if you're being a parent and think that you can deprive your kids of the truth, and keep them in the dark because you think your religion is better than any secular moral, and thus you want to dominate your kids' life for the rest of your life, well, just wait until they come onto the internet and find out that, oh, you were lying. There is no God. Find out that there's actually a proven theory that explains everything. No God needed, no God required. So usually people would go, yeah, but what created the universe? Okay, what created your God? Oh, but nothing created my God. Okay, then nothing created the universe. But the Big Bang, yeah, but you don't know that there wasn't anything before the Big Bang. Oh, but it's out of nothing, they say. Okay, have you ever seen nothing? Do you know what nothing is? Yeah, I'm sure you know that if you have something in your hand and remove it, that's nothing. But that's defined from the something. You have never seen nothing. You have not seen anything that can be described as a pure nothing. Why is that? That there is nothing called nothing. Just the absence of something. That's because probably that there has never been a condition where there's an absolute nothing. So I would say, when you think about the Big Bang, it's probably more you know, you could have this story where there's a huge God that just says, "Let there be a huge universe," or everything in the universe could have been compressed into something, like a black hole is compressing stuff, but just different. And the Big Bang would have released all the matter because it could no longer sustain it. But we don't know. And that's where you'd say, yeah, we don't know, that means God. No. If we don't know, that means we need to investigate more, not come up with silly stuff. Because your God does not explain everything. What made your God again? Yeah, again, you, as I said, you'd be going, nothing made my God. Well, something have had, if the universe is so complex that it has to be created, because that's most of the things that they usually say, it's so complex it has to be made. Okay, but in order for a God to make a universe, it has to be done by something more complex. So that would have been even more created by something else. So what created your God? I am constantly reminded by that old movie, Jeanne d'Arc, with the sword, where she's asked in captivity about the sword. She's like, but there's a sword in the field. It was sent by God. Okay. Are you sure about that? From all the possible solutions, it could have been 2 knights fighting and one dropped the sword. It could be one running away dropping the sword. It could have been somebody who just walked along and just didn't care about the sword anymore, so he just planted it there. But from all the possible solutions that it could be, you chose the one with a fucking God in it. What is the likelihood of that compared to any of the other solutions? So that leads me always to ask, where do you see God in anything? Oh, but the nature. No, the nature was not created by any God. That's evolution. We found that out. Try again. So that's where they go back again, as I said, to the universe. And they're done. I've already explained that one. They are simply done. So I've gone over the moral things. And funny enough, usually atheists tend to have better morals than people with a God. How come? Like, they tend to not be bigots and use it to instill a them and us morality where, oh, those that have this religion are worse than us because they're just bad. Only us with the right religion belongs in heaven. Thing is, though, you're right. Because they are wrong, but so are you. Every religion is wrong if it isn't proven. And I'm not saying, again, that's one of the other things that everybody gets wrong when they talk about atheists. Like, oh, you atheists say that with certainty that there is no God. Well, no. Let's say that you have saw a chair and you decided to call that God. Now, I would say to you that, okay, I can now see your God. Cool. I can touch it, so it's physical. I can measure it, of course. But the only thing about your chair is that it probably won't have any divine power. So, yeah. But I'm happy with you calling that your God. I don't really care, because at least that's proven to exist. And there could actually be a God. But with Christianity and Muslims and everybody else usually, except for deists, they go one step further than just saying that they think that there's a God. Because, of course, that's a possibility. But, even so that it could be a possibility, they claim to know what he's thinking. You know, they're not really and claiming what a God is thinking. That's not really a how do I say? That's claiming something. That's like knowing something that you don't know. Oh, but we have our Bible. Yeah, and in Harry Potter books, there's this thing about Voldemort, but that doesn't make him live. Oh, but the Bible has been read and done by and followed by so many millions of people. So, popularity. Well, that doesn't make anything right. Because stupidity doesn't make a thing right. If people, how many people believe something wrong, something that is wrong, doesn't matter. All that matters is what there's evidence for, and there's absolutely no evidence for their God. Else I'd like to see it. Real hard evidence. I want to see it, I want to record it, I want to measure it. Oh, but you can't, can you? Yeah. And without any proof, they just want to proceed and cut into children because that's their culture. It's a bad culture. It we may think, and I've been asked this, well, who do you think you are? Well, I know that we're a primate, evolved primate, and for many hundreds of thousands of years actually now, humans have been living and dying at the age of 20 and beyond a bit, suffering from illnesses that they didn't know anything about, and dying from them. But not until the last century, the last 100 years, have our age, not our age only, but have we started to understand what's actually going on. So, and that's science that's done that. And only for the last 10,000 years, that means that has, there been like this, oh, but there was a God here. But only for the last 10,000 years, approximately, has there been some sort of thing where the deepest, darkest part of Africa, or the Middle East, where God supposedly came to some people who couldn't even read or write, to go this message. That means like for 190,000 years, their God looked down on earth with indifference, going, oh, I don't really care. Just for the last 10,000 years, oh, now it suddenly matters. And then they don't even come with proof. And not only that, the Bible can be interpreted in so many ways. So it's not like, oh, it's fixed what it says. It's like, oh, I think it means this, and somebody else goes, no, I think that means that. That's a bad way for a God to come out with a message. If this God was good, wouldn't that message just be easy to understand and not be sent to some illiterate bastard who doesn't know how to read or write? Sorry for saying the B word, but I'm just, annoyed with people saying that. So, that was my 2 cents on it, of what I've been talking about for the last week, about religion and stuff. Now, I love to see, as I said, a proof that there's a God, but nobody actually will want to prove it. They're like, oh, but it's just faith. Yeah, that means you're game over. Faith is the reason you give when you don't have a good reason. Because if you had a good reason, you would not say it's faith. What makes, when you want to cross the road, do you use faith there? No. You check the both lanes before crossing, and then you could maybe say to your kids, well, I look both ways before crossing, because that's how you gather your information. And that's the scientific method. To look, to investigate if stuff is true. Not just, well, I'm gonna close my eye and have faith that you don't get hit by a car. You can use faith for absolutely nothing. It can lead you anywhere, and that's the bad thing, because for some, faith will lead you to the conclusion that, gays should be cast down a building, that women should have cut their clitoris off, or guys their penises, or something like that, the skin of it. It may lead you to go that, well, any other religion should be killed. That's faith for you. But if you look at it from a reasonable angle, you'd say that, oh, that's just another human being. Like me. They might not have the same moral, but if he doesn't take my shit, I'm not gonna take your shit. And thus we have an understanding. Now that is logical. And that is social humanistic morals that we as atheists sometimes, or most of the times, actually subscribe to in some way. So, thank you for watching. It's been Ken Games with a little lesson in atheism. So, have a good time, have a good night, and bye! And use that brain and tell those people that that whenever they want to push their God onto you, just ask them to prove its existence, and they'll back down.